Hi, welcome back to the basement. I'm Steve Lewis. Last week I said that we would do Featuring Carl Wilson Part 5 this week. Well, in the meantime, I received a big mysterious box in the mail, as well as a big mysterious envelope all the way from the UK. I wanted to share the contents of the box and the envelope with you this week, maybe get to a few more viewer comments this week, and we will do Featuring Carl Wilson Part 5 next week. So let's cut to the day the box arrived. Here I am opening the box. I just picked up today's mail, and this was on the porch. And after standing around trying to figure out why we were getting a ceiling fan, why my wife thought we needed a ceiling fan, I see the box is from Wes Roberts. And anybody who's been watching the channel for a while will know that about a year ago, Wes Roberts very, very generously sent me a package containing a bunch of really great Beach Boy collectibles as a gift. I'm assuming this is not a ceiling fan, so I thought I'd open it on camera, just see what's in here. I haven't heard from Wes in quite a while. I wasn't expecting anything. Let's see what this is. The postage, it's a huge, heavy box too. The postage itself was quite expensive. Wouldn't it be funny if it was really a ceiling fan? I doubt it. So let's see. Try to open it carefully. I don't want to damage anything. All right. What is it? It's packed very carefully. It's a box within a box. Lift that out. All right. Now I got to really be careful. Let's see. Looks like maybe there's a flap here that opens. All right. It is records. Let's see what we got. I'll just do this quickly and then, I'll take a closer look and come back with some additional comments. There are definitely some 45s in there. And what the heck? Oh, wow. The Session 64, the Record Store Day thing, which I don't have and have regretted not picking up. A tour book? Is this yeah, tour book. Fantastic. Blue vinyl, Here Comes the Night promo. Spirit of America. What else is in here? Collection. Oh, wow. Geez, I've not seen that one. That must be live in London, I guess? Yeah. Ah! I've been looking, well, I've been keeping an eye out for this. I know it's not that rare, but I don't have it. So that's great. Man, fantastic. That was, like on my list for sure. Well, Best of the Beach. Oh, these are really unusual. Brian Wilson. Wild Honey on EMI. Looks like this must be English, I guess. Fantastic. Wow. Oh, man. Wes. Unbelievable. God, a lot of these I'm going to have to look at because I'm not really sure exactly what they are. Oh, here's the other Live in London. Still Cruising. Oh, stack of tracks with this cover. Van Dyke Park Song Cycle. Man, this is great. Oh, Walk Don't Run by the Venture and Walk Don't Run Volume 2. Whipped Cream and Other Delights. And then there's another box in here, so let's see. This is a very unusual selection for sure. Like I say, some of those Beach Boy collections I'm not really conversant on. I'm not exactly sure what they are, so I'll have to check those out. But I realized recently I didn't have any vinyl copy of Live in London. And, really kind of wanted to have both, the English one and the American one. And now I apparently got them. So thank you, Wes, for that. And for the rest of it, of course. But let's see, what's this? Oh, Best of the Beach Boys. Ducks. Oh, It says Doc Severinsen Sextet Live there, which I think this is probably a PVC cover that's been reused from something else. Oh wow, I've never seen this. Wrecking Crew compilation, very cool. The Sunrays album. Beach Boys introduced Barbara Ann, another unusual one. And here is, ooh, a sealed copy of Friends. Wow, how about that? Man, I'll keep that one sealed. Okay, we got 45s. Let's take a look. Man, this is unbelievable. It's Christmas all over again, as Tom Petty would say. This is really cool. Oh, Wings with a Little Luck picture sleeve from, I'm not sure, Germany? Anyway, I'll figure that one out. Mamas and Papas. Oh, Japanese big picture sleeve for Do It Again. Ooh, lots of Beach Boy 45s. Very cool. Oh, some foreign, okay, Get You Back. Some foreign picture sleeves. Wild Honey. Wow, oh, this is great stuff. Beautiful sleeves, man, look at that. I'll go over this. You know something? I will end this here and I will go through this and I'll show it in a little bit more coherent order. Anyway, what a surprise. Thanks very much, Wes, and I will follow up more a little bit later. Thanks. Bye. So it's been a few days and I've had a chance to review the stuff that was in the box. Some of the best stuff I think you already got a pretty good look at, but I'll hit some other highlights here. One of the things that I noticed in closer inspection was this note on the side of the box. Wes says, not a fan, but from a fan, open here, which is pretty good. I also realized that the Spirit of America collection is Spanish, as you can tell by this sign here and this note here. Also does not have a gatefold. I wanted to show you some of the foreign 45s. We've got these Beach Boy in sort of generic Beach Boy sleeves. This one appears to be German. It's When I Grow Up to Be a Man and Little Honda. This one is the UK release, Do You Want to Dance and All Summer Long. Then we've got a German Wild Honey picture sleeve with advertising for other artists on the back. We've got a French EP of Barbara Ann. We've got a French release of Good Vibrations on some Dance Forever Oldies series. This is number 15. Of course, the picture is Surf's Up era. We've got an Italian Barbara Ann, little jukebox insert there. A Spanish Here Comes the Night picture sleeve. And this one I really like. This is a Japanese Do It Again. The thing I really like about this one is check out this sort of ruby red colored vinyl. I really love colored vinyl. I've never bought a record just for colored vinyl, but it's always a real bonus when I get it. And speaking of colored vinyl, I wanted to show you the vinyl on that promo Here Comes the Night that Wes sent. Check out that beautiful blue vinyl. I hope that's coming through, just how nice that is. I wanted to show you a few of the foreign albums. From Holland, we've got the Definitive Collection, Best Of. We've got the Dutch Live in London with the gatefold sleeve. We've got Beach Boy Story Volume 2. This one was wrapped up really tight. All of these I took the PVC covers off just so you could see them better. This one I wanted to play because it shows Graduation Day as being 20 seconds on this, which is a mistake. I thought maybe it was some edit, but it's the full track from the concert album even with Mike's intro. Then from England, we've got this Wipeout by the Beach Boys on Meteor Records. This is some of the Height and Dorinda Morgan recordings with 3 tracks by the Marquettes that are credited to the Beach Boys, or at least they don't say they're by the Marquettes. I get the feeling that this is Magnum Music Meteor. I get the feeling this was not a real prestige label. Part of the reason I look at the other recordings that they've released. Check out this collection of early Bob Marley recordings. Look at that graphic. He looks like the mummy of Ramses II with dreadlocks. So Anyway, it's a really interesting collection, really unusual. Speaking of unusual, here is a German The Beach Boys live. This is live in London with this mid-60s photo on the front of it. This is certainly something I've never seen before. We've got the Italian Beach Boys introduce Barbara Ann, which is sort of a best of. We've got an Australian Best of the Beach Boys Volume 1. And Still Cruisin', which it's still in the shrink, still has the hype sticker on it. It's not a cutout like the version I got, but what really got me excited was when I looked inside. It's got a promotional biography of the Beach Boys and this 8x10 photo, so that was really cool to get. I got a couple of tour programs from Wes. This is the Brian Wilson's Pet Sounds Symphonic Tour from 2000, and this Beach Boys tour book from late 80s, early 90s. I haven't exactly figured out when that was. I see Gene Landy still getting a credit in there, so that kind of gives me a clue what period that was. Got a promotional slick, two-sided, and then this was really cool. This is a stage set list from June 27th, 2003, which happened to be Bruce's 61st birthday, coincidentally. This is from Chastain Park, which is outside of Atlanta, Georgia. Wes tells me, I followed up with him on this, he tells me that he went to the show, and this was given to him by Jeffrey Foskett, and Wes says that Foskett and Mike Love shared this during that performance. Really want to thank you for that. I know there's a lot of other stuff, but I think you got a pretty good look at it. Thanks so much for sending it, Wes. It's great stuff, and you really cheered up an otherwise dark, dreary winter Michigan day, so much appreciated. I also recently received a big surprise envelope from our old friend Martin Steele in the UK. It was chock full of press clippings about the Beach Boys, mostly from the 70s and mostly from the UK press, things like NME and Melody Maker. Also in there was a full edition of the 1976 Rolling Stone with Brian Wilson on the cover, very cool. Some things like a newsletter for the Beach Boys. This appears to be from sort of late 76, early 77. I'm basing that on the fact that it appears that 15 Big Ones was out, but Pacific Ocean Blue wasn't, so that kind of nails that down a little bit. Then, very cool, there was Beach Boys Fun newsletter from November 1977, and Beach Boys Stomp number 8, which seems to be, based on what they're talking about, from like 1978. These are really cool. I've heard so much about them, but I've never actually seen one before, particularly Beach Boys Stomp, which I've heard so much about from UK correspondents like John Hammond and Chris Rainbow. So to actually get to see these is very, very cool. I really appreciate you not only preserving this stuff over the years, Martin, but all the time and trouble and how thoughtful it was and how expensive it was to send it from the UK. Thanks very, very much. Now to catch up on some recent comments. Since recording episode 204, Cool Stuff I Found Out Part 22, I've had a chance to read Kenneth Womack's Living the Beatles Legend, The Untold Story of Mal Evans, and I was very pleased. It's an excellent book for anyone who, like me, has read a lot of Beatle books. It gives you a different take on a familiar story. It's like seeing a favorite movie shot from a slightly different angle. The perspective is a little different, and there are things around the edges that you never knew about before. Of course, the ending is tragic. I mentioned earlier how so many celebrity memoirs follow the same basic trajectory of obscurity, success, downfall, and redemption. Sadly, of course, Mal Evans' story never reaches that final phase. The best I can say is I think, at least I hope, that people and agencies are much better now at handling people in a mental health crisis than they were in 1976. The story of how the material for the book was temporarily lost and the heroic efforts to rescue it are fascinating in themselves. According to this, apparently the book was originally conceived as a coffee table book, and there are lots of references to the great photos and Beatle memorabilia that were going to be in it. There are some small black and white photos in this book, but it sounds like a second volume with an emphasis on photos and memorabilia could be in order. I hope eventually they'll do it. Next up for me reading-wise is Carly Muñoz's book, A Fool's Journey to the Beach Boys and Beyond. I have no idea what I'm getting into here. I haven't even really cracked the cover, But I want to get to this pretty soon because, as you may have read, The Beach Boys by the Beach Boys is due to be released on April 2nd. I'm not sure how much insight we'll get from the select Beach Boy quotes apart from a retelling of the story we all know. I'm expecting there to be some great photos. Hopefully we can follow up on this in April. I see there's also a book coming on March 5th called The Beach Boys ABCs of California. As you can imagine, this one is definitely insight free, but from the little preview on Amazon, it looks like it'll be fun and charming. I've got both books pre-ordered. On episode 205 featuring Carl Wilson Part 3, I heard from Chris Mari with some very interesting information on legendary bassist Leland Sclar, who I mentioned as one of the players on David Cassidy's The Higher They Climb album. For one thing, Chris let me know that I have been mispronouncing the name as Leland Sclar for at least 50 years. I think I first saw the name when I bought the James Taylor One Man Dog album back in 1972. Since then, I've read it literally hundreds of times in liner notes, but apparently I had never heard it spoken before. Chris found information that Leland Sclar has played on more than 2,000 albums and 25,000 songs, which is a statistic that I have no trouble believing. Chris passed along a great story about Sclar, who he describes as being very humble and very gracious. As mentioned before, Chris managed the Bass Center in Los Angeles for many years, and so met a who's who of big league bass players. Chris sent this photo of himself with Leland Sclar and saxophone legend Tom Scott, taken around 1990. When Lee Sclar eventually came in, Chris asked him if he would be interested in holding a bass clinic at the store. He says Sclar's first reaction was that nobody would be interested since he didn't play the slap and pop style that was popular at the time. He did eventually agree, and as Chris writes, Lee graciously spent 3 hours with us, answering questions and telling stories. He brought his most recorded bass with him and brought a legal pad with a handwritten list of artists he'd recorded with. This pad had 3 columns of artists listed, page after freaking page. It was mind-blowing. When all was said and done, Lee only picked up the bass for less than a minute. Everyone enjoyed the evening and agreed it was one of our best clinics ever. Chris also let me know about a 2022 documentary that I completely missed. Immediate Family is a profile of the musicians who became known as The Section: Russ Kunkel, Danny Korchmar, Waddy Wachtel, and Leland Sclar. It was directed by Denny Tedesco, who did the Wrecking Crew film. As I'm recording this, I haven't had a chance to see it. The trailer looks great, and I'm really looking forward to it. Thanks, Chris, for the information and for passing along such a great story. Talking about the connections between Carl Wilson and Ricky Martin when discussing Ricky Martin's Beached album, several people pointed out that I forgot to mention that Carl later married Ricky's sister, Gina Martin. At the time Beached was recorded, Carl was, of course, married to Billy Hinchy's sister, Annie. They married in 1966 and divorced in 1982. According to Ricky Martin in his book, That's Amore, A Son Remembers Dean Martin, after Carl's marriage to Annie was over, Carl told him he was interested in Gina and suggested he would come to Ricky Martin's gig at Madame Wong's in West LA since he knew Gina would be there. According to Ricky's book, the two of them spent much of the night talking in the booth, which was the beginning of their relationship. After many years together as a couple, they finally married in 1987. Carl and Gina were still together when Carl passed away in 1998. So Carl and Ricky Martin were not only longtime friends and musical collaborators, they also eventually became brothers-in-law. And that'll have to do it for this time. There are so many more comments that I wanted to get to, and we just don't have time. I think we will return to comments sooner rather than later. Next time, we will get to the long-promised featuring Carl Wilson Part 5. Then we will return to 1964 pop culture, laying the groundwork for a discussion coming soon of the Beach Boys All Summer Long album. Hope you tune in for all this. Once again, thank you to Wes Roberts, to Martin Steele, to Chris Mari, and to everybody for watching. Have a great week. Please join us next time. Thanks. Bye.